Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 65 and 66. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajakachaja Stotara Sata Sri Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Primsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavana Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 65 and 66. Prasade sarvadukhanam hanir asyo pajayate prasanna chitaso yashu buddhi paryavatishtate. Prasade sarvadukhanam hanirasyo pajayate prasanna chitaso yasu buddhi paryavatishtate. Prasade sarvadukhanam hanirasya pujayate prasanna chitaso yasu buddhi paryavashtite. Prasade on achievement of the causeless mercy of the Lord. Sarva, all, dukhanam, material miseries. hanihi, destruction, asya, his, upajayate, takes place, prasanna cetasa, of the happy-minded, he certainly, ashu, very soon, buddhi, intelligence, pari, sufficient, avashtistate, established. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. For one who is so situated in the divine consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such a happy state, one's intelligence soon becomes steady. There is no purpose, so we'll go to the next verse, verse 66. Nasti buddhirayuktasya nachayutaksya bhavana nacha bhavayata shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. Nasti buddhirayuktasya nachayuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. Nasti, there cannot be, buddhihi, transcendental intelligence, ayuktasya, of one who is not connected with Krishna consciousness, neither, cha, and, ayuktasya, of one devoid of Krishna consciousness, bhavana, mind fixed in happiness, neither, cha, and, abhavayataha, one who is not fixed, shanti, peace, ashantasya, of the unpeaceful, kutaha, where is, shukam, happiness. Translation: one who is not transcendental, one who is not in transcendental consciousness can have neither a controlled mind nor steady intelligence, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be happiness without peace? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 529, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, and that he is the proprietor of all manifestations, that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal, and when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace, however much one may make a show of peace and a spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested, peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana na chabha vayata shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. So Krishna here is clearly stating ashantasya kuta shutam. If you're not shanta, if you're not peaceful, how can you be happy? If the mind is always disturbed, if the senses are always disturbed, if we are always looking for happiness, if our happiness is being infringed, then we cannot be peaceful. And obviously, if we cannot be peaceful, we cannot be happy. Real peace comes when we discover our eternal connection with Krishna. That is the only connection which is eternal, which is perfect, which is actually according to who we really are. It is not illusory. It is reality. And when we tap into this reality, then the illusion of the material world becomes destroyed. It's like when you're having a bad dream, you're having a nightmare, and in this nightmare you're suffering, shaking, even perspiring, but suddenly you wake up from the nightmare and you realize, it was a nightmare. This is the reality. I'm not suffering. In the same way, living in a material world is a nightmare. Of course, there is some happiness in the material world. We're all looking for love, for a relationship. We're looking to satisfy our inner aspirations. But even if we find this difficult to find love, even if we find reciprocation with another living entity who loves us and we love them, this reciprocation, this reality is temporary. We're going to get old, we're going to die. And there is not even a guarantee that we will get old. I'm an old man, but younger brother, mother and father, they all died very young. There was no guarantee for them to live to an old age. In fact, there is no guarantee I will live throughout this class. There is no guarantee I will wake up tomorrow. That is because the body is deteriorating at every moment. We don't take birth. We die. At the moment of birth, our death begins. With every birth, a certain number of breaths, a certain number of breath is allotted to us. When the last of that breath is taken, then we die. Therefore, the yogis, they practice the breath process, pranayama. Pranayama means to be able to become balanced, that the outward breath is perfectly balanced with the inward breath, and the yogi can stop breathing. And when he stops breathing, he lives on the prana, on the energy of the air. He doesn't require to breathe in that energy. That energy is there, and he's able to access it, and he's able to balance his breathing. He doesn't breathe, therefore the number of breath that he's been given doesn't become less and less and less, and he can live for hundreds and hundreds of years. In the purport of this verse, Prabhupada comments on the 5th chapter, verse 29. This is a very important verse, and among the devotees, it is called, Prabhupada called it, the peace formula. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam yatmamam shantim richati. This is the way to get shanti. In this verse, 266, Krishna says, Ashantasya kuta sukam, without peace, without shanti, where is happiness? In the 5th chapter, verse, Krishna says that you get shanti by 3 things. By understanding that Krishna is the bhokta, or the enjoyer, of all sacrifices and all austerities. Bhoktaram means to be the enjoyer of what? Yagya, sacrifices, tapasa, of austerities. Sarvaloka maheshwaram, to understand that God is the controller of all the planets. Sarvaloka, all the planets. Maha Ishwaram, the supreme controller. Suridam Sarvabhutanam, the friend, Suridam, Sarvabhutanam, of every living entity. Nyatwamam, when you know this about me, Krishna says, Shantim Richati, you will become peaceful. So, don't be crazy. Don't go after this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You will never find it. You will never find a permanent settlement in the material world. Therefore, Krishna advises that I am in everybody's heart. You know it and I know it. Everybody who gets a human birth is given the understanding that there is someone within the heart. not only himself, but some other super consciousness. And that little voice that tells us what we can tap into, that tells us this is right, this is wrong. This is called the Paramatma. Every human being comes with this understanding that this Paramatma is there. And that Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, is conscious of everybody. I am conscious of my body. And you are conscious of your body. But there is a Supreme Consciousness to whom we all can attest, which is in everybody, because we all can attest it. You cannot say you know my consciousness. I cannot say I know your consciousness. I know what you're feeling, what you're thinking. No. But I can say there is a Supreme Consciousness, and you can say yes. Also in me there is Supreme Consciousness. And every other human being can understand that that Supreme Consciousness is there. Because the Supreme Consciousness is all-pervading, Sarvakshetreshu, Krishna says, it is pervading everywhere, then it is called Ishvara. It is called the controller, the Supreme. It is supreme to our consciousness. And Krishna says, Tameva Sharanam Gacha, surrender to that consciousness. Before you do anything, ask that little voice which represents the Supreme Consciousness. Make sure that whatever you do, whatever you act, whatever you think, whatever you offer, whatever sacrifice you perform, it is with the benediction, with the permission of the Supreme Consciousness. Then the result is, if you do this under all circumstances, tat prasadat, by His mercy, and His mercy means, by this understanding, paran shantim, you will become completely peaceful. Not just peaceful, but paran shantim, completely peaceful. Sthanam prapsasi. Why will you be peaceful? Because you will get a sthanam. A sthanam means a foundation to stand upon. The reason that we are not happy in the material world, the reason that we suffer in the material world, the reason that even if we do find love, we understand that actually it is temporary. It is not a proper foundation. And therefore we will always be disturbed. But if you take your advice, if you understand your relationship with the Supreme Soul, which is Krishna within the heart, then it is sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. It is a foundation which you achieve and which is eternal. You will not take another birth. By Krishna's mercy, by the mercy of the Super Soul, you will understand that I am spirit. When you understand your spiritual nature, there is no question of coming back to the material nature. Even within this body, even within this material world, if you understand your eternal relationship with Krishna, if you understand that He is the Lord, if you understand that everything you do should be done for His pleasure, if you understand that He's your best friend, and if you take His advice, if you take His intelligence from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Guru Maharaj, Guru Parampara, if you take that intelligence, then Param Shanti, you will become supremely peaceful. That is the key. And it makes sense. It's not dogma. It's not some belief that is true now and is not true tomorrow. No. When you actually become a devotee of Krishna, when you awaken your relationship with Krishna, it never changes. It doesn't matter from which faith you come from. You may be a Christian or a Hindu or a Jew or a Muslim. These things can be changed. Today I believe in Christianity and I go to the church, I get baptized, I give confession to the priest, I worship Jesus Christ. Tomorrow I change my mind, I want to go to the mosque. I become a Muslim, I offer prayers 5 times a day, I take instructions from the mullah. Sometime later I can change my mind, I'll become a Jew. I'll follow only the Torah. And in this way, these beliefs, they can change. But dharma, or the real Sanatan dharma, the eternal occupation, cannot be changed. Once you become Krishna conscious, one of the symptoms of Krishna consciousness, that even if you're struggling, even if it is difficult, even if you're suffering, you never give up your connection with Krishna. When you suffer, when I'm suffering, I pray to Krishna, my dear Krishna, I am suffering so much. You are the supreme controller. By your arrangement, the suffering is coming to me. That means I deserve the suffering. The child should never accuse the father of being impartial. The child should not be angry with the father when the father chastises him or disciplines him, because the father is acting out of love of his child. No parent, no father, no mother will unnecessarily give pain to their children. On the contrary, with every atom of their body, they want their children to be happy. Even if the child forgets the parents, even if he goes away from the home, even if he becomes completely lost, the parent never forgets him. I have personal experience. When I was young, because of craziness, I also left my home. I went on my own and neglected my father and my family. But from the moment I came back, I was embraced, I was loved, because actually my parents never stopped loving me, even though I forgot them and I became absorbed in material things. In the same way, Krishna never forgets us. He is always in our heart as our best friend. We may forget him for millions and millions of lives, and indeed, being in a material world is a symptom that we have forgotten Krishna. And the cause of this forgetfulness is anadi karama phale pori bhavar nava jale. Because of karama phale. Karma means work and phale means fruit. Because of the fruits of my work, because of the reactions of my work, which is anadi. Adi means beginning and anadi means without a beginning. So there is no possible way to trace out the beginning of my work and the reactions of this work. What is the result of this work? Pori bhava arnava jale. Pori means I fell down to the bhava arnava. Arnava, the ocean of bhava, the ocean of material life. And what is the result of coming into this material world? The result is, and the symptom and the result is forgetfulness. Tari bare na dekhi upai. And now that I'm in this ocean, I don't know how to get out. Tari bare, because of it, na dekhi, I cannot see upai, how to come out. It's just like if you were dropped in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. What chance do you have? You're simply tossing in the waves. You cannot swim to the shore because it is too far away. You don't even know in which direction the shore is. You are simply going to drown. Or you're going to be eaten by some shark or some other predator of the waves. So the only way you can be saved is if somebody comes along with a boat and picks you up. So, the Vedas, Vedic knowledge, and knowledge in connection with the Vedas, in line with the Vedas. Veda means knowledge. So Vedas doesn't just mean the four Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, etc. It also means the Bible, the Quran, the writings of the Buddha. These are all teachings, and they have in common one thing. What all the teachings of the Veda have in common is that we don't belong to this material world. This is no place to make a permanent solution. This is no place to try and find happiness. The only thing is to surrender to God and accept that we are in this ocean of illusion and pray to Him to help us. So, on Wednesday, we discussed about our senses and our body and how this body and senses belong to Krishna. Now, this is my hand. With my hand, I can pick up things, I can move left and right. So I'm thinking, it's my hand. It's under my control. I can do whatever I want. Oh yes? Suppose I become paralyzed. Suppose my hand is paralyzed. I can say to the hand, go here, go there. But because it's paralyzed, it cannot move. It is no longer under my control. So it was never under my control. The energy to do things, to act sensually in the material world, is given to us by Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is called Rishikesha. Rishika means senses, and Isha means the controller. Krishna is the controller of our senses. And Rupa Goswami says, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Devotional service means, bhakti means to engage our senses, Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam, to serve the owner of the senses by our senses. That's reality. Just like it's reality to request the prasadam from Krishna, to request Krishna's mercy. Why is it reality? It's reality because Krishna is the supreme controller. We cannot move an inch without his permission. Sarvasya chaham ririsani Vishnu. Krishna says, I'm everywhere, in everybody's heart. You cannot escape from me. There is a Sanskrit word for Krishna that means one who doesn't blink. He doesn't miss a beat, night and day. And he's always with us, no matter where we go. We may blaspheme God. We may forget God. We may blaspheme Krishna. We may ignore him. We may take birth after birth after birth in the material world, anadi, without any beginning. We may go into all kinds of species of life and forget our identity, forget our relationship with God. But he doesn't forget. He doesn't give up. He doesn't leave our heart. He doesn't say, oh, you rascal, you don't want to know me. You want to simply steal from me. You want to insult me. You want to blaspheme me. So go. I don't want anything to do with you. No, he stays with us. And that is the symptom of a real friend. Therefore, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita said, Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the friend of everyone because I never let go. So once you make this connection, your life is perfect. And it never ends. In the beginning of the Gita says this, Natu evaham jatu nasham natvam neme janadipaha. My dear Arjuna, however, to remember clearly that you will never die. You have existed in the past, you are existing in the present, and you will exist in the future. Natvam neme janadipaha. Neither you, me, nor all these kings. We were individuals in the past, we are individuals in the present, and we will continue to be individuals in the past, in the future. Therefore, it's no question of losing our identity. Even if we want to lose our identity, even if we concentrate on the spiritual side of the symptom of the soul, which is called Brahman, even if we pray to Krishna, I want to merge into Brahman, I don't want to know you, I just want to go into your effulgence, Krishna will accommodate you. He can do so. He can absorb you into his Brahmajyoti, into his effulgence called Brahman. Krishna is the source of Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I am the pratishta, the foundation of Brahman. Amritasya vyayasya cha, which is Amrita, it is eternal. Avyayasya, it is without change. Sukhasya, it is full of happiness. But even if we merge in that Brahman, we cannot stay there forever. We may enjoy, but because we are individuals, because we have senses, because we want to act. Why do we want to act? Why do we want to engage in activity? Because the origin of us, Krishna, our Supreme Father, and we are made in his image, and we contain all his qualities to a small degree. One of his qualities is to be active. Therefore, even in the Brahman, the day will come when you will again want to be active, and again you come down to the material world and engage in activities. So, this is the crazy life. It's called samsara. It is like a wheel. It is moving. Everything is like a wheel. Don't listen to this modern scientist. especially this rascal Darwin, that we were monkeys at one point and we are moving, and we will become God at some point. It doesn't work like that. Nothing is linear in the material world. Everything is cyclical. There is a seed, from the seed comes the tree, from the tree comes the fruit, from the fruit comes the seed, from the seed comes the tree, and everything is moving in cycles. It is called samsara. So, the purpose of life, you're given this opportunity as a human being. You can understand this. It is not difficult. If I understand it, you can understand it. Good. Thank you very much. So we have our participants tonight. Major confusion. Dandavats, Atmavidya Prabhu. All glories. Hare Krishna and good evening to the assembled devotees. Mande Priyor, Hare Krishna. Krishna Premavati Devi. Good evening, everyone. Krishna Premavati has a question. And how can there be happiness without peace? Why then are people always fighting and going to war? Good question. Why are people fighting and going to war? Well, Krishna likes to fight. So we also fight. But we fight on the wrong platform. When Krishna fights, the result is good. When we fight, the result is bad. But we are individual. Therefore, we tend to fall into illusion. We identify with the body. The body identifies with the land. Krishna says, Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuka. That we identify with this bag, tridhatu, or the material body. We boma ijjadi, we think that the land that we are born is ijja, it is worshipable, and therefore we fight. Even people who are interested in spiritual life, yatirtha buddhi shalile, even one who is thinking that going to a holy place and bathing, that is the perfection of spiritual life, but Janesu abhigyesu, if he doesn't take advantage of the holy people living in those holy places, just like if you go to Vrindavan, there are many sadhus, many holy people. You don't just go there to cut your hair and bathe in a Jamuna. No, you should also ask about spiritual life. What is the purpose of this holy place? In Calcutta, the Ganges is flowing. It's called the Hooghly or the Bhagirathi. And people from Calcutta, from Bengal, they go 1,000 miles away to Haridwar to bathe in the Ganges. And they think, oh, I've come to Haridwar. It is so spiritually beneficial to take bath at the Haridwar. It's the same water, whether it's Haridwar or whether it's Calcutta. Whether it's called Ganga or whether it's called Hooghly, it is the same river. So, the purpose of going to a holy place is not just to bathe there. If you think that I am this body, that this is my wife, belongs to me, this is my family, belongs to me. If you think this land where I'm born, it is worshipable, if you stand with your hand on your chest when the national anthem is sung, when you glorify the flag, you look at these rascal politicians. Every time you see a politician speaking, he's got at least 3 flags behind him. Nonsense. So, if you think like that, Krishna says, Sa eva gokara. You're no better than a cow or an ass. So we're not cows or asses. We are human beings. We've been given facility to understand who we are. So let's take advantage. So, Krishna Premavati, she comments, consciousness is the voice of Paramatma. Absolutely. And then we have Anders Sederberg. All glories to the devotees. Thank you very much. Giridhari Jetmani, my old friend from Jaipur. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Giridhari Prabhu. So nice to see you. Because of Corona, I cannot come visit you very soon, but if I come, I definitely plan to come and see you in Jaipur. I hope you're well, along with your wife, son, and daughter. And very nice to hear from you. Then Rob Illings, the only so-called foundation in this material world is much like a drop on a lotus leaf. It can be finished and glide down at any moment. Exactly. As Govinda says Govinda Das sings, Kamala Jala Dala Jivana Tala Mala. Kamala, the lotus leaf, Jala Dala, drop of water, Jivana Tala Mala, it is like your life. A drop of water on the lotus leaf doesn't soak into the leaf because the leaf is impermeable. But if the leaf just moves, the drop falls down. This is life. Our life is just like the drop of water on the lotus leaf. Kamala Jala Dala Jivana Talamala. So what is the solution? The solution is Bhaja un Hari Pada Nitire. Just worship the lotus feet of Hari because they are not temporary. They're not going to go prit and fall off. Krishna Prabhavati concludes, the problem is not that I do not know that my duty is to serve God, but to actually be qualified to do so with love and devotion. It can be, it's a relationship. Relationships means reciprocation. It has to be built. Krishna doesn't forget anything we do, any attempt we make towards Krishna. He is very happy. He's our Supreme Father. He loves us. He wants to see us coming towards Him. And if there is obstacles, they are there. When you're a devotee, the obstacles are there to purify you, to help you overcome, to make you strong. My experience is that Krishna never allows any material situation, which I created, not that He created, I created it, any adverse material situation which I created in the present and because of the past. Krishna always gives me sufficient strength to tolerate it and to overcome it. So, like I was explaining on Wednesday, Bhaktivedanta says, Nija Bale Chesta Prati Bharasa Chariya. Chariya, I will give up. What will he give up? Nija Bale, my own strength. Chesta Pati Bharasa. I will not put my faith on my own strength. I will put my faith on Krishna. Then the only so-called foundation in the material world, Bhaja un Hari Pada, very, very good. Krishna Premavati is quoting the same song. Then we have someone called Perla Ni, Hare Krishna uncle. Hare Krishna to you, my dear niece. Anders says, all glories to a dear... all right, enough. Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful class and replies. Thank you for listening. As I said before, you are my mirror. We love looking in a mirror. Everybody loves himself, because it's all we are. We have this body, so we love it. So when you look in the mirror, you tend to spend time there. People spend a lot of time in looking at mirrors. So you are my mirrors. Without you, I cannot even see myself. Good. Thank you very much. We'll end it here, and we will see each other again next week on Wednesday. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.